Shalom, Gabe Greenberg here, learning with you this week, as we do every week, the commentary of the Netziv on the weekly Torah portion. This week, Parshat Beshalach, Exodus chapter 14, and we'll be focusing on verse 15. The Israelites are trapped between an Egyptian army and a wet place, the Red Sea, and they don't know what's going to be. If they go forward, they'll drown. If they stand still, they'll be killed by the oncoming army. So they're saying to Moses, why did you bring us here? Just to die here? You should have let us die back in Egypt. And at that moment, God says to Moses, Vayomer Hashem el Moshe, God says to Moshe, Ma titzak elai, why are you crying out to me? Daber al bnei Yisrael v'yisau, speak to the Israelites and travel forward. And then the next line, V'ata harem et matcha unteyet yadcha, you should raise up your staff, spread your arm over the sea, and the sea will split open, and the Israelites will be able to travel through it on dry land. We're going to think about the phrase Ma titzak elai, when God says to Moshe, why are you crying out to me? Now there's a question there, because it's unclear what God is referring to when saying, don't cry out to me, because that seems to imply that Moses was crying out to God, and yet we don't see that happen here in the text. So the rabbis of the Midrash and the Mechilta, and this is cited by Rashi here, Rashi says, Lamadnu, we learn from this, Shehaya Moshe Omed Umitpalel, that Moshe was standing and praying at this moment. Amar lo HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and God says to him, Lo eit ata laharich b'tfilah. Now is not the time for prayer, now is the time for action. So that's a very nice understanding of this phrase that Moshe was, that we don't see it in the text, but it indicates that Moshe was praying. There's a question asked there by the Ibn Ezra, another great commentary on the Torah. He questions Rashi's answer and understanding. He says, Einenu nachon, this cannot be correct. Ki kvar ne'emar lo v'ichavda b'faro v'chol chelo. Moshe was already promised by God that God would be honored ultimately through what's about to happen, namely that Pharaoh and all of Pharaoh's armies are going to be crushed, which will give honor to God, not that the killing of these people intrinsically, but rather that the Israelites are saved in this miraculous way. So what Ibn Ezra is pointing out is that there has already been a promise to Moshe and to the Israelites that they are going to survive, that this is going to work out for them. So the question then remains, why would, according to the Midrash, why would Moses pray here? What is he praying for if, as the Ibn Ezra points out, they already know they're going to survive? So it's that question that the Netziv here is going to seek to explore. Moshe, as we said, was praying, Afal gav sheyada hetev ki HaKadosh Baruch Hu yaseh Yeshua liYisrael, even though he knew well that God was going to perform miracles for the Israelites. Umikol makom nidrash letfilah lefi dato, but nevertheless, there was still something which required prayer. What was it? Ze klal gadol b'milchama shemitnaheget b'fu'ulat hateva. This, says the Netziv, this is a well-known and important grand rule that is applicable whenever there is a war which is being fought according, on some level, to the laws of nature. What is said rule? Afal gav shebarur sheyihiyu hema menatzchim, even though they knew for sure that they were going to win, mikol makom tzarich tfilah. Prayer is still needed. Prayer is still needed. And what exactly is the nature or the significance of that prayer when you already know that you are going to win? Hainu. Mishum she'afal gav she'yinatzchu beverur, even though they know they're going to be victorious, lo yimaleit shegam kama mehamenatzchim yahargu kafi derech hateva. It's possible that though the klal, the group, is going to win, it's possible that individuals will get killed in the process, because this is what happens in wars. And as such, Moshe was praying not for ultimate victory and success, which had already been promised to them, but rather that through the process of, in this case, the splitting of the sea and going to the other side, that individual Israelites should not be harmed, should not lose their lives in so doing. And the Netziv brings several examples, other places in Tanakh where there's a fight or a battle or a war that are guaranteed to work out well for us ultimately, but that nevertheless required prayer lest individuals from amongst the nation be harmed in the process. One in particular he notes is the war with Midian, where God says, Nikamta, you're going to take vengeance on them. And it says that 12,000 Israelites went out to fight, but the Netziv notes that there were 12,000 fighters. This is from the Midrash Rabbah, Shahalchu Yudbet Elef Lemilchama, 12,000 went out to fight, Ve Yudbet Elef L'tfilah, and 12,000 others went out to pray. So that's a proof text from the Midrash that supports what the Netziv is saying here. So it's a very nice idea that in life, even if you know on some level things are going to work out in the end, we still, and you have to work towards that goal, that nevertheless in the short term, we're thinking about the individual details, the pratim within the klal, the individuals within the collective. We have to advocate and fight for those, each and individual, that things should work out well for them, and we can't take it for granted that everyone is going to make it in the end, and we have to think about each and every person along the way. So, another great insight from the Netziv. I hope you have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next time.